Hello and welcome. I am Professor Zamadar SL, Mechanical Engineering Department from Brahmadev Mane Polytechnical Belati, Solapur. So today we will start the session Advanced Manufacturing Process, the program under the program Mechanical Engineering 5th semester. So last section we have seen that the examination schema related to that subject. So we will today directly start the new bit laser beam machining process. So before that going the presentation, given presentation, we will see the video of original laser beam machining process in short. Here in this video we can see that a laser beam which has a cut the machining process of the given plate by a different number of the shape. So here we will see that contain the first introduction, then basic principle, laser concept, actual laser beam process, mechanism of material removal, advantages of LBM and the disadvantage of LBM. So first in introduction we will see that the term of laser it stand for light amplification of by stimulated emission of radiation. LBM is nothing but a non-traditional thermal process. In this thermal process, the material removing process by thermal energy provided by a heat source. It means the melt or we can say that vaporize the material, the volume of material to be removed from the workpiece among the thermal removal method. So in that electrical discharge machine it is oldest and most widely used. So here the principle we can see that laser beam machine is based on the conversion of electrical energy into light energy and into the thermal energy. It means that the electrical energy which has converted into light energy, we can say that in the photon or electron section, the photon which has photon the light energy, that light energy which has a impart on the workpiece. So there the thermal energy will be created, that so that's the reason the heat will be reproduced in the section of the workpiece and the metal will start to the remove. Laser concept, in that the electron or charge particles, they carry some energy, the energy related with the orbit in which the electrons revolve. Here generally all the electrons are present in the outermost orbit of the atom, take part in the process of energy absorption emission, and the ground state, the state with lowest energy, is the most stable state for the electron. After absorbing the energy, electron jump to the higher energy level to the staying in the lower energy level. It means in that laser when the light rays which has an impart on a ruby rod, or when that in type of the laser rod, at that time the energy will be absorbed. When the energy will be absorbed, the electrons inside the atom which has a taken the higher level energy, which has a taken, or we can say that it's electrons which has a jump into the higher energy level. So at that time it's unstable. When it's unstable, we can see in the diagram. In that diagram, the electrons which is outermost of orbit, which has a travel from the, or we jump from the nucleus centers to the higher level of the centers, higher level of the orbit. When higher level of orbit is passed, then it is unstable. At that time, it's when it gets in ground state level, or or we can say the low level. So it's when it travel from the higher level to the lower level, at that time the photon, it emits some photons. So that photons which has a conversion and the photons that is work as a laser. That is a basic emission of the model, emission of the photon model. So here we can say that this jump may be in two stage. The first is electron from the higher state may not come directly to the ground state, but may have for some microsecond some intermediate state before finally coming out the ground state. It means when it's come from higher level, transfer travel to the higher level to the lower level or ground state, at that time it passes to the microsecond some intermediate state, the period of which electrons stay in higher energy state known as lifetime of the energy state. So its lasing action, the emission of photon is not done by only one atom at upper energy level, but on the influence of external lights. A short chain reaction occur and one after other atom start emitting photon. So when it's emitting the photon, at that time it's used as a called as a lasing action. So here we can see in the diagram from the section, the ground electrons which flow from the ground level to the higher level energy, and when it's a curve which reverse traveled from the higher level to the intermediate energy to the ground state level. So at that time it's emits a photon. Not all the material are suitable for the producing laser beam. One of the most common laser material are also one capable of delivering high power is the chromium on a ruby crystal, which has a 0.05 percentage of the chromium material which has used in the crystal ruby as a aluminum oxide. Generally ruby rod is 1 centimeter diameter and 10 centimeter long, with the end of polished fully is used. So actual LBM process, we will see that in the beginning the atom or the crystal are in the ground state. When the light is flash from the flash point, that's the light which is at 12 per flashes 12 per minute flash over the crystal, and the most of the atom are raised to the excited state. Some lights wave inclined to the axis of the crystal will leave the box either after only a few reflection without strike on a mirror. Some of the waves in the travel parallel to the axis of the crystal. When when emits the photon or excited, suddenly we can say that suddenly the from chromium and these four photons stimulate another atoms or contribute in second photon. It means when it emits from the that from the higher level travels to higher level to the low ground state level, at that time it emits the photon. This process continue as the photon are reflected to a flow between the mirror. These two type of the mirror they are used in ruby crystal. The first is total reflected and a partly reflected. When it in the total reflected and partly reflected, which is used in the upper section and lower section, here the ground state, we can say that the electrons which is flow from the ground state to the higher level state, or you can say the atoms will had to start excited from the low ground state to the higher state. So here the figure of the laser mechanism machine. In that figure we can see that the construction in that first reflective mirror in upper section, lower section is a partly reflective mirror, laser crystal, or we can ruby crystal, we can say that. Then after that the flash lamp which has a provide the power supply from the outside, and which is lights flash the lights on the ruby crystal. So after that photon emits the photon, that photon collect, or we can that focus from the by using the lens at the one point of the workpiece. So it is very interesting that laser has to use on a material where it is absorb the laser energy. Upon the absorption of the laser energy, there is a rapid rise in the temperature, leading once again the melting and vaporization and material remove. So at that time, a cooling system which is also used in outside of outside of the system, ruby crystal. So although several type of the laser exist, all the laser produce emits. It means the intense coherent highly collimated beam of single wavelength light. In material processing application, it is used for the narrow beams is focused by an optical lens. One optical lens which has a placed, we can see that in a lens which has a placed in the lower section of the diagram. So they here the processing application narrow the beam which has a focused optical lens produce a small and intense spot of light of the workpiece. So here the the material which is mechanical material which is removed used for the LBM machining process. So here after that the process we will see the advantages of LBM process. This figure which has explained all the things of related to that. First, the LBM machine which has absorbed the energy, laser energy from the gas system or any other material system. Then after that it's rise in temperature, then it's placed on the, or we can say the concentrate on the point at the workpiece. So it means melting and evaporation process will be there. After the melting and evaporation process, a material will be start to remove. That is whole basic structure, or we can say the flow diagram of the LBM machining process. So we will see the first then advantages. The first advantage is that excellent control of laser beam with a stable motion system which can achieve extreme edge quality. Laser cut parts have a condition nearly zero edge deformation. It is also faster than the conventional tool making techniques. Laser cutting has higher accuracy rates over the method of using heat generation as well as water jet cutting. There is a quick turnaround for a part regardless of the complexity, because change of the design part can be easily used in this system. So that is a basic advantage of that. So here also it is used for the nylon button. It is also it is used it means a small type of the, when it's required a small type of the applications or drill or cutting which which required at that time LBM which is used. Also it is another advantage is that we can say that there is no any tool use, so there is no any tool wear, and extremely a small holes can be drilled by using this section. It can be used in medium, air medium, gas medium, vacuum medium, any other liquid medium also. That is also advantage of LBM. So another is that this process is also used for the cutting, drilling and welding process. So there are a number of the advantages of LBM machine. So we will go to disadvantages process. In that first disadvantages process, the material being cut get very hot as narrow area, thermal expansion may be a problem. Another thing is major that laser also require the high energy, making of the costly. So it is a major disadvantage. The high capital and operating cost is also it's high. So that's reason it is a mostly disadvantage there. The worker which is used is unskilled worker is can't operated. Skilled worker is also it's only operated. That is a disadvantage. Another disadvantage is that non-reflecting surface it is required. If see here in this system we use reflected surface, at that time that light rays, or we can say the laser which has a reflect to the from the object. So we want to use a non-reflected surface for the workpiece. That is also disadvantage of this system. So thank you. I hope you all understand all the things related to that this system. Thank you very much.